We want you to become an honorary Gosling. Join us. You'll get exclusive access to conversations and content that would otherwise get us banned from social media. Plus, you'll get free digital downloads of some of our books and selective writings. And check this out, you'll get to participate in our live monthly Discord chat and more if you join our exclusive Patreon following that we like to call the After Party. It only costs $5 a month, which is basically a cup of coffee, and it helps us make the show better. We love you guys and can't wait to see you there. Become an honorary Goslings at patreon.com/the Goslings and sign up today.
Your YouTube feed is crap. Stop wasting your time watching bot-boosted shills and self-appointed gurus cloying for your attention. Instead, join the Goslings interview live stream and podcast. The Goslings, a dark-lit digital speakeasy of free thinkers. A super chat of radical truth-seeking wizards who eat trolls for second breakfast. Topics that'll make your mama's hair stand on end. Ideas that'll make your pastor's knees knock. Guests that will illuminate the hidden chambers of your mind. And interviews that strike down the darkness. Welcome to the Goslings.
Take up the broken sword of your father
and strike down the darkness.
Cheers.
Cheers. That's good coffee.
That's good.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Nick.
And we are the Goslings. And we are a YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, all of the above interview live stream. Typically, we are live streaming. However, this week, due to us being too naughty for prime time.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. Said some naughty words.
You know, listen, we went ahead and created the Illumi-Naughty after party for our Patreon members, for our patrons, you know, to be able to, you know, listen to content that was too radical or controversial for YouTube, wanting to, quote, violate the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah,
and
we did.
guess
we
what?
violated them hard.
We made good on our word, and it turns out YouTube will give you a channel strike even for an unlisted video.
Yeah, it was an unlisted, kind of exclusive video that no one could see unless they had the link.
Unless you're a patron.
And YouTube still is like, we don't like these guys already, so.
Yeah, they don't. They are already shadow banning.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, we're shadow banned.
And we're actually working on a solution to that. There is a channel swap that is in the works.
Imminent.
Yeah,
imminent.
So
yeah.
So, anyways, you are not getting this at the normal time of Sunday at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. You are getting this probably on Wednesday or Thursday. That should be whenever the
strike's done.
Yeah, whenever it lifts.
Don't worry, we're gonna make sure we premiere it. That way, you guys get notified multiple times before it's available, so you know when it's available.
Yeah, and of course, if you're listening to this, then you already know that.
But no, you won't know. Well, and you won't know any of that unless you subscribe. So what I'd like for you to do is take up the broken sword of your finger and strike down that subscribe button. Also, smack that bell upside the head. That'd be really great.
Whack it.
We whack the bell.
Yeah, whack it like a whack your mama. It helps the algorithm. It helps deepen our digital footprint. It keeps you notified of anything that's coming up.
Well, it's supposed to.
It's supposed to.
Even though you might not be notified. If you do all those things, YouTube still might say, screw the Goslings. We're not notifying you. Which we've actually heard some of our subscribers have had that problem. But again, we're working on it. You guys have been great. And but subscribe anyway, because that's your best chance of knowing when we're going to be doing this thing live.
And if you're listening to, or if you're watching this on YouTube, then just know that we're also on Rumble and Spotify as well. So if you want, alternate ways of watching or listening, you can go there as well. So.
Rumble, Spotify, and anywhere you find podcasts, really. In any podcast platform, basically, you can find us, as well as Twitter, as well as Instagram. And we're on Facebook, but not really. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no one's really on Facebook anymore.
Yeah.
I know.
That's for the boomers.
The beast.
Yeah, and love you guys, by the way. Love the boomers. Yeah, don't. That's not an insult.
Okay, boomer.
'Cause I'm a Gen X. So I contribute basically nothing, but I still get the right to be mad at the other generations. Happy.
That's right. Yeah, there's there's an interesting article about the Empire Strikes Back being the quintessential Luke is like the archetypal Gen Xer. He doesn't want to join his dad's company.
He whines a lot.
He whines a lot. He gets into some weird romantic incidences, and he ends up just joining a bunch of ragtag losers.
Yeah, he runs around with his loser friends.
His loser friends pissing off his dad. So, and I'm a proto-millennial.
Dresses all in black sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like cool. That's like once the Gen Xer has a kid, But like I'm a proto-millennial, so I am all of those things. I whine a whole lot more. So I just complain constantly. I literally had somebody tell me one time. I said like, "Well, no complaints," and the person said, "Well, you'll find something." that's a true story, by the way. That's not a joke.
Fantastic.
So, anyways,
you know what though? You know what balances all of that out?
What?
The Kothon Spartan mug
by Jericho Pottery.
You know why? Because it makes you less that and more Spartan.
It does make you more stoic, more laconic, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
As in, Laconia, Lacedaemon, the ancient Spartans.
Lacedaemonians.
So the Spartan Kothon mugs, these are made by Jericho Pottery. Joel is the proprietor of Jericho Pottery, and he hand makes and paints all of these Spartan mugs, and he was kind enough to give us a couple of these so that we could promote them.
Yep, unofficial in-kind sponsor.
Unofficial in-kind sponsor. Jericho Pottery. Joel designed these with Stephen Pressfield.
With Uncle Steve himself.
Old Uncle Steve, who is the author of The War of Art, Gates of Fire. He's my favorite author. He has become sort of a friend and a mentor of ours in many ways, really taken us under his wing. We've interviewed him several times, and Steve has an amazing network of people from Jack Carr to General Mattis. I mean, like Oprah, Joe Rogan, Stephen Pressfield is huge. And so we have these in thanks to Joel at Jericho Pottery, finding out about our relationship with Steve. And we're going to be having Steve on quarterly for Fireside Chats.
Yeah,
with
Fireside
Steve.
Chats. That's right.
And anytime we are doing a live stream, we will have these Kothon Spartan mugs on. You can buy these if you want from CherichoPottery.com, or you can look up Jericho Pottery on, just Google. You can find them on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. Get in touch with them. Go to the website. Look at their stuff. It's worth the money. Mm-hmm. These things are awesome.
Handcrafted, handmade, hand-painted. Everyone is unique and truly a work of art.
Yeah.
Truly a work of art.
Just like your dog, which seems to have taken a tumble in the next
room. It sounds like my
room.
dog in the next room just
doing somersaults.
Knocked the table over. Chasing a phantom cat in her old age. She's starting to hallucinate.
Dementia. It's the ghost cat.
I wish she would phantom poop on my carpet. That'd be fantastic.
Phantom pee whenever it rains.
Yeah.
Instead of real pee.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Actually, I do want to ask Roxanna about what's your relationship with cats, Roxanna?
Well, speaking of artists, let's bring her on.
Yeah. So today we have an amazing guest. She is a painter. She has done multiple things from miniatures to just murals, miniatures to murals. Mm-hmm. She has painted 3 paintings for me for Heavenly Realms, for Empyrean Falling, my Angelic War fantasy novels. And she recently just completed a map of the lower realm of heaven, which is for Empyrean Falling, which you see behind you here. And I had it framed. She did an amazing job, so we're going to talk about that today. And everyone, please welcome Roxanna.
Dun, 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 dun.
Hi.
Hey,
I am so happy. I am so happy to be with you again.
This is always so much fun, and you look so beautiful today. Like I was just telling you earlier, this is the most I've ever seen you. Like you look like you just got back from an art show.
Well, today I bathed myself.
You bathed.
You too.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
I knew it. Yeah. I look just like that when I come out of the bed.
Hey guys, the conversation with Roxanna was fantastic. We actually got into the map that she made for Jonathan's books. It's beautiful. We talked about a lot of her other work as well. But then about 45 minutes in, the conversation took a hard right turn into the paranormal and supernatural and aliens and that sort of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and skip forward to that part so you guys can check that out. I think you're really going to like that.
What is it about the paranormal aspect of aliens that you like, Roxana?
To think that the world could be different from the one that we know.
Yeah,
That there are no boundaries in this universe.
yeah,
Because sometimes the political people um, put us I don't know how to say in English, but blind in the
Blindness.
eyes,
Mhm.
blinders in the eyes, and that life turns boring,
Yeah,
or we lost hope.
yeah,
But when we think in different beings and different universe, we can dream about the possibilities of a new world, of a new thing. Sorry, of a new way to do the things. But it's scary too, because
yeah.
some maybe they are powerful. I think they are powerful, so they can smash us when they want.
Maybe.
Maybe they like us, maybe they don't.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes.
maybe they're Vulcans here to, congratulate us on finding warp technology, or maybe they're, the engineers from Prometheus ready to, drop the black goo on us.
Mhm.
It's scary to realize that we as a humans could be in the bottom of the triangle
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and be just food of the other beings in the universe. That is
Uh-huh.
scary. But when
That
we
scared me as a child. There was that
yes,
television series called V,
Oh
and
yeah.
it was a reptilian alien race coming down to wearing our skin, basically, and intermingling with us and secretly stealing us away for their food supply.
Mm-hmm.
That was horrifying. I was like
yes,
eight, maybe 8, 9, something
And they
like
were
that.
lizard people,
They were
right?
lizards, yeah.
Yeah.
They were lizards, reptilians.
Yeah.
Ugh,
From where are they supposed to be?
like the queen.
Are they supposed to? That's right, like Queen Elizabeth.
I am agree with you.
I know it's so tough because
May she rest in peace.
Yeah, may she rest in Antarctica with the rest of the.
The rest of the
May she slither back through that hole in the earth to Antarctica.
YouTube are going to strike you again.
Maybe.
I know. We already got in trouble once. We'll get in
Misinformation for
Mhm.
saying Queen
Yeah,
Elizabeth
but
was a
you
lizard.
know, there are a lot of Asian cultures that talk about people that shift to animals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here in Mexico, the people know them as a Nahual. They are people that can change their his bodies to an maybe a lion and a cat, different things. And if you study the history of Egypt, you can see they have in their walls histories of people changing his bodies too.
Yeah, and even the ancient Egyptian gods, that look like human animal hybrids.
Yeah.
We always kind of equate that, psychologists and anthropologists have sort of equated those to being some sort of symbolism in nature. But what if they weren't? What if
I mean, almost every continent has indigenous
Yeah.
tribes with shaman
and pyramids?
with either that ability or an oral tradition of people who could freely do that. And if you
Yeah.
talk to those people, it's a reality to them.
It's not a metaphor.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
real to them.
Yeah.
It's real, and some even claim to have encountered these. I mean, Skinwalker Ranch is also a
Yeah,
good
here in
example
the
of that,
U.S.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what tribes, but that could be a real thing.
Yeah.
That could be a real thing.
Yeah.
Which is horrible because in America we think about, the idea of werewolves. And
Yeah.
it's super scary,
Yes.
but it's so fantastical. We set it over here in the realm of fantasy horror,
Yeah.
and it can't be real. It's just for entertainment.
It's just fun.
yeah,
Right. Yeah.
werewolves aren't real.
Yeah.
Well, what if they are?
What if they are?
What if they are?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know.
I always think about that because the actual religion
Yeah.
hide a lot of information.
We were just talking about that in our last live stream with Derek Gilbert and Gary Wayne. And they're like us. They're Christians. They read the Bible, But we talk about that a lot. How the the organizations that control seminary schools and teaching of pastors
Yes.
who will then go on to start churches. There are a couple of things in the Bible that they don't teach, that they shy away from.
They won't address.
They won't address it. And one of those things it's the Genesis 6 thing. It kind of has to do with the possibility of human animal hybrids and some sort of experimentation that is not good in nature, and it's not natural at all. And they just don't like,
An example of that is David.
Yeah.
In scripture, in the Bible, David went and fought against the lion men of Moab that had faces like lions.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the literal translation.
Yeah. Faces like, and how do you, and like from a normal, just everyday world, oh, that doesn't exist. That's not real. How do you explain that? You know, like go ahead and like rationalize that one, Yeah.
I think it's a narcissist posture that we took as a people, that our thoughts are the truth.
Right.
But why you can listen the other cultures and another histories and of people in the other part of the world? Why are true is the real, and why the true is not?
Truth has a way of bubbling up. At least historical truth has a way of bubbling up through all the different cultures. Like every culture has a flood myth. Every culture has, like you guys are talking about, human, animal myth. Every culture has some sort of god, demigod, pantheon, especially one that comes down from the stars, and or maybe they are the stars, and are they from space, or like Nick and I always talk about this, or maybe they are pretending to be from other worlds, but they really have
been here all
along, and maybe they're demonic in nature, or satanic in nature, and and they're just trying to trick people, and but every culture has like these through lines, just like every civilization or every continent has some form of a pyramid on it. And again, anthropologists say like, oh, well, that's just the natural progression of the human mind. But not every civilization developed the wheel. So you're going to tell me that not every civilization developed the wheel, but every civilization, like every group of people on every continent, developed a pyramid?
Yes.
Like,
explain that.
Explain that one.
And
Or
every
the shapeshifters.
Yeah.
Why every culture has histories about them?
Yeah. Roxanne, if you could be
giants.
And giants, yeah.
And blood sacrifice.
And blood, yeah.
Why is that? Why does every ancient culture has the tradition of blood sacrifice?
Yeah.
Yes.
Molech.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of all.
Straight out of the Bible, baby.
Yeah.
Even here in Mexico, there is a tradition of the gods that ask for blood.
Really?
In Egypt is the same.
Yeah.
They are so far one from another. So why they do the same? It's interesting to analyze that.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Speaking of which, if you could be a shapeshifter, Roxana, and I'm not saying you're not, would you?
Bro, are you a shapeshifter?
Nick Goss asking
the hard-hitting question.
Well, I have a history, a little odd or mad. When I was a little girl, I was dreaming crossing a door in my home. I was dreaming, but my brother saw me crossing the door.
Wow.
and I don't know what happened in this time.
Mm.
Some people said that the phenomenon is an astral.
Projection.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That happened to me and
Yeah.
opened my mind about more things related with that. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we are all shapeshifters.
It may be.
Maybe.
Yeah. I can guarantee you that I am either an armadillo or like a possum.
What do you shapeshift
Maybe a
into?
skunk.
If you did shapeshift into a different creature, what would it be?
Yeah, Roxanna, cats
A
or dogs?
cat. A
I
cat.
knew it.
A cat?
You
A black cat.
you know, it's funny every time I see, because I don't know too many sorceresses. You know, it's really just Roxana. So I'm convinced you're a sorceress, Roxana, because no one else gets in my brain like you. Anytime I see a black cat, you know, from now on, and we have a few in the neighborhood. You know, anytime I see a black cat, I'll be like, "What's up, Rox? How's it going?"
Yeah, there's one that's
You find those
lurks around
tacos?
here. It lives in the sewer. It comes out of the storm drains.
Oh yeah.
You know, eats. You know, chases the birds and then goes back into the storm drains. We
Mhm.
see it every couple weeks.
Well, black cats were the partners of the witch and the
Oh, yeah.
Egypt people too,
Yeah.
because they see
And
them as an I don't know how to say as a canal of energy.
Mm.
Oh, interesting.
Mhm.
Okay.
So maybe I would like to be a cat.
You could guard the humans against, you know, the gateways of the supernatural, you know, you could see all the ghosts of demons, because like cats are weird. They'll just be like sitting there staring at a wall, you know,
Yes.
for like 2 or 3
yes.
minutes, and you're like, what are you looking at?
Yeah,
You know,
that always creeps me out.
Mhm.
I just can't.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, Roxana would do it in our Zoom calls too, and that's just kind of what I figured you
What
Oh
are
my
your
God.
Zoom calls like anyway? What is
They're-
that whole process?
Yeah. What are the Zoom calls like, Roxana? Because that is a big part of your business model. That is how you communicate with so many of your clients and how you get ideas. Tell the audience a little bit about what the process is like with the Zoom calls.
Well, depends of my clients because there are ones that are so strict and just we sit and talk about the art. But with Jonathan, we talk about our lives, how he's going, and how I'm going, because it's important to see his feelings in the moment, because I can see that frustration if he's happy or not, and it's important to improve the communication throughout all the meeting.
Yeah.
How can I help them to open and give me the most clues of the art?
Yeah.
So we talk about everything. We start talking about our lives, and then we do a list of the different topics that we are going to talk. For example, here I do a collect of every reference that he has in his mind. I collect the sketches. So I with with that information I collect and create a sketch. I present in the second meeting or third meeting the sketch so we can discuss about all the adjustments that we need to do for making the map better in this case. And maybe in the last meeting I present the color version of the map so they can see if I need to add things or erase things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
Um,
I have a lot of ideas in my mind, but as you know, English is not my language, so sometimes it's very hard to me to give you all the information that I have.
Sure.
You know, though, I've never. You're very humble, Roxana. I'll be honest, but there's never once been a time when we did not. Like there may be like 5 times total out of like the 20 Zoom calls that we've done, or 10 that we've done so far, where maybe the English word escaped you, but like there's never been a time when there's been a language issue. Not once. I mean, you can tell, like, Roxana, you're probably rocking like a 135, 140 IQ.
Probably.
You know? Yeah. You're fine. You know?
Yeah, your English is more than sufficient. It's
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's see. If so if you could go anywhere in the world, you're from Costa Rica. You live in
Yes.
Mexico City with your husband, and you know Mexico City has amazing museums. If you could go anywhere in the world for inspiration for your art, where would you like to go?
Well, I love Mexico a lot. I think Mexico, it's a mixture of magic, tradition, power, aliens, because here people from Mexico has a lot of story about aliens.
Yeah.
But I think for the ancient history, Japan.
Really?
Yes, I love the vision they have about the magical things, the dragon, the honor of the samurai.
Yeah.
I think the samurai are so strong. I would like to be an samurai.
I can see it. Yeah. Well, that armor is so distinctive. Like there's
Yes.
there's not a lot that looks cooler than samurai armor.
I think that is the reason why I love the Darth Vader
Yep.
design, because
Mhm.
it's inspired in a samurai from Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and Japanese artwork is so distinctive. It has a name, and it escapes me.
Yes.
I do not know the name of it.
I can't think
but
of it.
It's not Kinji. I think that might be the writing.
That's the writing, yeah.
Yeah, it's the writing. But it's beautiful. It's elegant, but it's bold. It's simple. There's like obviously a lot of meaning and energy that has been poured into that artwork, whether it's the wood
Yes,
carving.
and even the animation, it's faster when they do the battles.
Yeah.
It- there's something captivating when they're fighting. It's bloody,
Yeah.
but it's dynamic.
Yeah, it is, and it's very energetic. I think I can't remember if we talked about this before. Did we ever talk about Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood?
Yes.
Yeah, we did. Okay, I can't remember if we
Yeah.
did this in an interview or if we did this in one of our Zoom calls. But like, you know, I'm not a huge anime fan, but Roxanne and I have gone on at length about how cool Full
I think
Metal
you guys
Alchemist.
mentioned that last time. Yeah.
Dude, the music is
Yes.
great. You
Yeah.
know,
Yes.
like the production value is amazing. The characters are cool. Like, and it's funny at times. Like, it's awesome, and
Cool.
Yeah.
it's also
Yeah.
horrifying at times.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, like when they resurrect their dead mom, you know?
Yeah, but it's interesting because they talk about that kind of balance in the world. If you want something, you need to sacrifice another thing.
Yeah, if you want something
It's-
here, you have to take something here.
Yes, it's something like the gods with the humans, and
Yeah.
you need to give me something.
Mm-hmm. I think in Full Metal Alchemist, I think they call it and it's probably an alchemical rule, the law of equivalent exchange is what they call
Exactly.
it.
I wanted to say that.
Yeah.
I have no words.
My English wins. Yes.
I'm
No, just kidding.
yeah, it seems like all of the gods, that's another very consistent trait. All of the gods require something
Yeah.
in order for you to get their favor.
Yeah.
Except for one.
Yeah.
That's why
That's why we read the Bible.
like Yahweh is my God.
That's right. That's why we're on Team
because
Jesus.
the thing that he required, he actually provided, and that was Jesus.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
sacrifice.
That is an interesting thing about the difference between Christianity and so many other religions is like, you know, and it kind of depends on which, you know, there are so many versions of Christianity that you can dig into, but at their core, that's what it's supposed to be, is that is the one religion when it's accurately represented. That's the one religion that God, you know, recognizes the law of equivalent exchange that's necessary.
Mhm.
You know, the
Yeah.
death that you're born into, and has already provided the, you know, sort of the escape hatch
Yeah.
for it, you
Yeah.
know, with
Yep.
the sacrifice.
The blood's already been spilled.
the blood's already been spilled, and
Yep.
blood is still required. I mean, that's
It's still required, but it was
Yeah.
already spilled. It's crazy.
Roxana, if you could do any artwork for any fantasy or science fiction series, any, you know, whether it's a TV show, comic book, movie franchise, what would be like your dream job?
Good question.
Well, I think the new series, Sandman. It's a comic.
with Neil
But-
Gaiman.
Yes, exactly.
Uh-huh.
I knew. I started to read about Sandman, and it's amazing because they show the different part of the human, like the desire, like the death. The
Mhm.
it's so inspirational to do art from that art, the Sandman comic.
Yeah, and it's been around for, I want to say, 20 or 30 years, at least. Right? That was a graphic novel that was written back in, was it the 90s or early 2000s?
Yes, but Netflix do a new series of Sandman. It's a new version, and
Interesting.
I really love to that kind of new characters. And they changed death. In the book is a woman, and now it's a man. But the adaptation, it's so good.
Really? So
Yes.
it's good, even though they changed the gender
Yes,
of.
yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. They should have just cast you to do it. Yeah.
I would like to be that character because maybe we as Latins see the death tragical,
hmm
but here in Mexico is different. They celebrate the death,
Yeah. Why is that?
and I don't know. They maybe for them it's just part of life,
hmm
and for people from my country, it's so tragical. It's like,
Yeah.
that's it. You don't have anything more. And
Yeah.
here in Mexico, it's color. It's walk with the love of your people. It's like the life continues
Yeah.
with color, with magic, everything. They have a different thing about death, and the way they present death in Sandman, it's very similar to the vision of Mexican people.
Ah. Okay.
She helps you to do that transition
Yeah. Yeah.
in a best way, not a tragical way.
hmm
Yeah.
You know, that kind of exists in American Christian culture, in the aspect of, you know, angels. You know, like when, you know, the people talk about having near-death experiences, and the angels escort them up. I have an Aunt Jane, who had a you know, heart attack several years ago, and she talked about that, how like she felt like she was being, you know, escorted up towards the light, and it was a cathartic, it was a good experience, not a bad sort of
Yeah.
thing.
For her,
Yeah.
for some, I'm sure it's horrifying.
Yeah, depending on where you're going, it
Yeah.
might not be so great, but
Yeah.
you know.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you believe in angels, Roxana?
Well, I think there are more beings in this universe.
Yeah.
And science is starting to prove that there are different levels of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Some we can see, and another we cannot see.
Yeah.
So I think there are beings with more power in those another levels of consciousness or energy. So
Yeah.
maybe I think they are real, not in the way that maybe Bible or another books show them, but they are another beings. I think they are real.
Yeah. There's something there, you know?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. There's so
Because
many weird things that happen.
statistical, I don't think we are alone in this world.
Yeah.
And it's so narcissistic to believe that the only beings that exist are the beings that we see.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
As we speak, there are dogs, there are cats that see things weird.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't know that there are cats that see deaf people.
Yeah.
So it's narcissistic to believe that we are the best that exists in this world. Maybe an animal it's better than us, seeing that kind of energy.
Have you been to my house and been speaking to my dog Lily, because she clearly eats better than I do? So yeah, I think you're automatically on that level, you know. Well, you know, that's something that the Bible talks about with the angels don't show up a lot in the Bible. It's a huge part of pop culture, you know, especially in America. But you know, if you really try to curate all the verses in the Bible that specifically have angels in them, it's not a lot. And when they do show up, they are either incognito as humans, or they're very powerful, or they are in some sort of a chimerical state of
Yeah.
being, you know, some sort of animal hybrid, or you know, the seraphim, or the thrones and the powers, and there are all these different versions of them, but they're always presented as something that exists in its natural state beyond the realm of what you see.
Yeah.
You know, the heavenly
Yes.
realms.
Yes.
And so there is something else, you know, there's more to it, because, you know, people talk about, and I'm sure there's probably a science paper on it somewhere that talks about electromagnetic frequencies, but you know, when you're sitting next to a dead body, you know, like if you go to if you go to a hospital, and you know, you see someone who was alive, and then you come in the morning and they're not alive, like you can kind of tell, you know, but it's not something that you can really see. I mean, unless like jaundice is set in or something like that. But
you can sense it.
you feel it.
Yeah.
You know. So
Yes.
yeah.
And animals are better than us, feeling that energy.
Yeah, they could detect that.
Yeah.
So that's why I want to be a cat, a shapeshifter, because I have to admit that I am scared about aliens and maybe angels or demons, but there are a part of me that want to know
Yeah.
the other
sure.
part of the that kind of levels of energy.
Yeah.
I'm
How
so
excited-
curious about.
How excited
Sorry.
were you? Oh no, I'm sorry. How excited were you a few years ago when like all the disclosure thing was starting to happen? You know, about like the U.S. government releasing like information about aliens. They got real close there. They released like some videos of like some Navy fighter pilots, you know, and they got really close and they started talking about it. And then all of a sudden they like.
Were you more excited or were you more fearful when you saw those?
Both.
Yeah.
But I think both. But I think more exciting because it's really hard that the government accept that there are aliens and demons and everything, because that will change politics.
Yeah.
And people do not want that. It's
No.
so hard to change religions, the things we think exist. There are a lot of people that maybe has a panic attack,
Mm-hmm.
so the government has to be careful opening all the information. But I think everybody knows that there are other beings in this world.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's true.
So hard. It's so hard for the governments to talk because people will get mad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it'll shake a lot of people's faith, and it'll create a lot of chaos. And
Yeah.
like that's why in the show The X-Files there was always the cigarette smoking man who was like the main villain of the show. Did you ever watch The X-Files, Rox?
Yes.
Yeah, you remember the bad guy, the cigarette smoking man who worked at the FBI, and he was like above Scully's boss, and every time he saw him, he was always he didn't really have an official name. He just was like he was the boss of the boss, and he was always smoking cigarettes, but he was the one who like kept all of those secrets about like the downed alien spacecraft, and and because he knew, just like what you're talking about, Rox, he knew that like if that information got out, it would be widespread panic.
Yeah, be mass hysteria.
What do you think, Nick, about that topic?
Well, I think
as a religious person.
yeah, it's not surprising. I think that whatever these things are, I think they've been here. They've always been here. I don't think that they're a higher order. As a religious person, I believe what the Bible says, that we bear the image of God, and nothing can exist in the universe that God didn't create.
Yeah.
But humans are unique in that we bear the image of God. We represent Him in creation. I don't think there's a higher order of being, but I do think that these things are real. Are they from somewhere else in the universe, or are they here existing already, veiled in a different dimension? I don't know. But I don't believe that they're good. I don't believe that from all of the accounts of encounters and abductions and sightings and messages received, whether it be paranormal messaging or psychological messaging, people who claim to receive messages from these beings, not one of them validates what the Bible says about our origins. And that concerns me. It tells me that they are not aligned with the truth of God's word. They're not aligned with what God is trying to do in the world through us.
Yeah.
I think they are opponents. Personally, I believe they're opponents of God and those and His people. I really do. I think they're here to deceive us. And really, I believe that when they do make themselves, when there's full disclosure, and every government has admitted these things, and everyone's starting to see them, and we all know that they're here, I think it's going to cause a lot of people who believe in God, a lot of Christians, they're going to lose their faith. And that, for me, I think that's really horrible and sad, but I think it's going to really shake their faith because they don't really know what the scriptures say. And I think there's going to be a big falling away, unfortunately, and that's probably what they want. That could be their motive. I don't know, but that's what I believe.
That's why a lot of people said that maybe aliens could be, or some spirits could be demons.
Yeah,
we talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
We do. Yeah.
Because they have some tricky messages, some contrary messages.
And I'll say this too. When you hear about the people who get visited by aliens or abducted, it's always the same thing. It's always in the middle of the night. They're paralyzed. They can't move. They're taken against their will. Sometimes even children are taken against their will. Children who have these accounts, they don't have a choice as to whether or not they want to go up on a UFO. They don't have a choice. And that is very demonic. Middle of the night, taken against your will, you're paralyzed.
The witching hour.
And it's very consistent in all of these accounts.
Yeah.
God does not force His will on. He does not force people to accept Him. He doesn't take people against their will. The Holy Spirit does not force people.
Yeah.
They have to choose. That's why God is love, because He loves us more than we could possibly imagine, ever. But He doesn't force us to love Him back. because true love is choosing to love. That's why we have free will. That's why we're
Yes.
image bearers.
And
So he chooses.
even some phenomenon like I write here for that question. The scratches in the skin that people get when they see something like demonic that wants to sound like an angel. The scratches in the skin. Some scientists said that people that said that was abducted ends with a ferrous sulfur smell in the skin.
Oh wow,
Really?
sulfurous smell.
Yes.
I
For
have
that, the ancient people said that wasn't the hell was a burning place
Yeah.
because the sulfur smell
Yeah.
that people get in their skin. But when they see aliens, says that the sulfur skin happens too. So maybe aliens or demons are the same. I don't know.
Yeah. But there are angels too who are, fighting for God on our behalf.
Maybe there are angels that try to make us believe that they are God.
Oh
And
yeah,
there's
fallen
some
angels.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, there are good angels and bad angels. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
And the interesting thing about a lot of those alien abductions is some people talk about how once they start repeating the name of Jesus, that is like the only thing that actually repels the abduction. I don't know. I think it was a dream, but I had a dream about that one.
I did too.
And I was like, it was right after I started writing Empyrean Falling.
Wow.
Yeah. It was weird. Like Dad was praying over me in my bed at night. I was like 17, and I think it was probably a dream. That's what I tell myself sometimes,
Yeah.
But like I started to lift up towards the ceiling, and the ceiling was like it was like a black cloud, an inky black cloud on the ceiling, and I was coming up towards it, and then I started repeating Jesus's name, and it's the only thing that like backed me off of the cloud.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and came back down.
Dude, I had a similar experience last year. I think I told you, but
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was in bed, sleep, middle of the night, and I was dreaming. I'll fully admit that I was dreaming. I felt weightless. I felt myself being lifted off the bed, and there was a vibration, thump, 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 almost like helicopter blades, propellers. But it was thumping my ears. It was a real strong thumping against my eardrums. And in my dream, I knew it was happening.
Yeah.
I knew that these demonic entities, these aliens, were taking me, and I could not move. I was absolutely paralyzed. I couldn't speak.
Yeah.
Couldn't even say Jesus. I was just thinking it. I kept thinking over and over, Jesus, help me. Jesus, save me. Help me. Lord Jesus, please help me. I'm trusting in you. I'm trusting in you. All I could do was think it, and it didn't work at first.
Really?
Yeah. But I kept getting closer and closer to the ceiling. And then finally they let me go because I kept saying, Jesus, please, Jesus, help me, please. And so I lowered back down on the bed, and I woke up, and I realized that the thumping in my ear was actually just the fan spinning. But here's the thing. It was the rhythm of the fan that was doing that it was making me dream that.
Yeah.
But after I woke up, my ears were sore.
Really?
Oh
My
my
eardrums were
God.
still sore.
Maybe
Feel the
they
pressure.
put on the fan to
Maybe.
To mask
cover
camouflage.
what happened.
But and I fully admit that this was a dream. I'm not saying anything happened. I dreamt this. I dreamt all of
Well,
this.
but listen to my story. I dreamed that I crossed the door,
Yeah.
but my brother, who was awake, see me crossing that door.
Yeah. In real
So
life.
maybe, yes. So maybe that happened, but you don't have a witness to say that that was real or not.
Yeah.
Just the dog.
What and I don't know. You're right. Who knows? Who knows? Because I was asleep.
I
I
know.
was asleep and dreaming it. Who
Yes.
knows what was actually going on? I don't know. But I do know that at least in my dream, that Jesus kept that from going any farther.
Whatever that
He released
was.
me from it.
Yeah.
You know, and my mom's had the same experience. A lot of people have had that experience, that exact same dream, that exact same experience.
Weird.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very consistent.
That's so
Very
Some
consistent.
people, some people said that when a member of the family has that kind of experience, all the family throughout generations
Yeah,
has suffered the same.
I've heard that.
You kind of have that in your family too, Rox, right?
Yes, from my grandmother. Every
Wow.
generation has seen something like smoke with a form of an people, like in
Really?
a spirit,
Yeah.
aliens, everything. But
Shut
I don't like to talk about that a lot because
Yeah.
people said that you're weird. That's just an imagination. And
Yeah.
no,
No, it's not.
it's true. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't have the correct way to have to put a name of what happened,
Yep.
but that happened, and I don't know how to explain that.
Well, I'll say that I appreciate you feeling comfortable enough to talk about that with us.
Yeah.
Because the people who watch these videos, they wonder and ask about those things. They want to talk about and hear about those things.
Yeah.
They're looking for truth. They know that these things are real too. So
Yeah.
this
you're
is
not
a very
alone.
safe. This is a very safe, platform to talk about those things on.
Yeah.
You know, I think people will probably get a lot out of that. And
Yeah.
it'll make it, because there are other people that might be seeing the same or similar,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and they want to know that they're not alone.
Yeah. It provides comfort, and
Yeah.
it makes them feel like, oh, I'm not crazy. This other person has experienced the same thing.
Yeah.
yes, I think it's important to talk about this topic,
Yeah.
even if you two do on strike. But yes,
We will
But-
strike down the darkness until YouTube strikes down the channel.
Go down fighting, baby.
That's
You
right.
know, that's but you know what's funny? It's
oh,
like
I love it.
we could talk about that stuff all day long, but if you mention anything political,
Yeah, they don't like
that's
that.
they
Yes.
did not like that.
Yes,
You know? Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's what they went after. But you know, the Bible talks about those kinds of generational curses, or even generational blessings happening, across multiple generations, where like the sins of the father, and whatever may have happened 200 years ago, it's I'm sure there's a biologist out there or a psychologist who would say like, oh, that's genetic conditioning that's linked to your ancestors and blah blah blah. But when you have 2 or 3 generations that all experience the same supernatural phenomenon,
Yeah.
there is some sort of mark that has been placed on your line,
Yeah.
and that's a very common thing.
And statistical people that it's related with art
Yeah.
suffer that more.
I believe
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
People think that the artist has a better communication with another part of the energy or inspiration on a different view of the world. So you became I don't know how to say, a magnet
Yes.
of that kind of energy. But artists suffer of that kind of experiences a lot. If you read about Van Gogh, if you read about Da Vinci, if you read at the most important musicians, they say that they witness aliens or spirits or demons more than people that is not related with art. It's something weird, but happens.
Yeah, it is. That veil is membranous thin the more artistic you are, because you kind of exist on the fringe of your creativity exists on like this fringe of reality, where you're sort of piercing that veil and getting into something else. H.P. Lovecraft talked about it all the time. He talked
Exactly.
and like he's the guy who created like the Cthulhu mythos, back in the early 1900s. And He talked about how he feels like a madman, but the things that he wrote about were so radically advanced and ahead of their time that nowadays they are kind of this whole idea of trans-dimensional ancient beings. He was writing about in the 1920s, and
Yeah.
that, as far as pop culture and literature goes, that was a pretty new thing.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people. And then you look at what was his name? Howard, the guy who created Conan the Barbarian, also friends with H.P. Lovecraft. And he created all of these amazing stories about Conan the Barbarian. Thomas E. Howard, I think maybe was his name. I'm sorry, I can't remember. But driven crazy and ended up killing himself
Jeez.
at like
Yes.
35. He was super young when he killed himself.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is some sort of a link if you come from an artistic family, especially one that has any sort of religious link. Like,
Yeah.
there's probably some weird stuff that
Like
you might-
ours.
yeah, like ours. Like Roxanne,
Yeah, like Roxanne.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, you have to ask all your guests in this podcast
Yeah.
if they as an artist has a similar situation, and you
That's
will
a good
see
idea.
and you will see the link.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That actually would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just have it as like built into the battery of questions.
Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
like, all right, so you're an artist, we're artists, we've seen some weird stuff.
Yeah.
You've seen anything weird?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's great.
Tell me about the weird
Yeah.
stuff. Speaking of weird stuff, we're gonna let you go here in a minute, Roxo. We've taken up a ton of your time. There are a couple of we actually covered most of these questions. We had, no joke, we had 24 questions for Roxana.
Yeah.
And or maybe 20. We had 20 questions total, I think, for Roxana. And we covered just about all of them, but two that are more career procedural in nature that I did want to ask you. One, are you still writing your book? Because I think you had talked about writing a book a while back. And two, are you ever going to, and this question's for Eva May, are you ever going to teach online classes again? Because I know we had discussed that as well.
Yeah, I would like to do some classes, but I need to finish first some projects maybe, and I will do some classes at December.
Okay.
And about the book, I need to take my time, because
Yes.
being a writer is something that I respect a lot. It's not easy, and I need to learn a lot. So I'm going to ask you help and some really, really, because it's so hard. And I would like to send my first I don't know how to say this.
Your first,
Maybe
First
yeah.
first draft. Yeah, your first
Yes.
edition.
Yeah.
to you, so
Yeah.
you can give me information and write and everything.
My, how the tables have turned.
No,
When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am
Yes.
still
Yes.
the learner.
write a book is my dream. I always wanted to do it, but to be honest, I think a lot. Well, I have thought a lot of years that I was not capable of,
Oh yeah.
because I don't have the skills, or maybe my story was not so interesting, so I was scared that anybody wants to read them. But when I has become adult, I think my idea of that has changed, and it's important that we listen everybody's story.
Yeah.
Because maybe the thing that I think that just myself is living, it's something that we as humans are dealing with, and maybe we
Yeah.
can help another people with our story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your art is supposed to help make the world better.
And that's the
Yes.
whole reason our
Yes.
slogan is to take up the broken sword and strike down the darkness.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's really hard, because the self-esteem that you need to be a writer,
Yeah.
it's tough.
Yeah.
It is. But it goes both ways. Like I was pretty arrogant about my capabilities as a novelist from the jump.
Really?
Oh yeah, from the start. Like, I didn't finish college. I didn't pursue a degree in English, which anybody who reads the Heavenly Realms series will obviously understand. Not exactly bearing the lead there. But I thought, I had my own preconceived notions about like how easy it might be to finish the book, and to write it, and what I thought would maybe be like a 2-year project ended up taking 5 or 6 years just to finish the first draft. And then
My God.
and then another 10 to 12 years, no, 10 to maybe 13 or 14 years. From that point on, it took 14 more years to get it published. So it literally was like a 20-year project, to get the first novel published on Amazon. Now, it changes. It never stops unless you walk away from it. You can always tweak the manuscript forever until it gets published, but if I had a humility as a young adult when I was writing these, and had maybe gone through more of the steps that older, wiser people had told me to go through, then I maybe would have been able to get this published, before both of our parents were dead.
Yeah.
So, but
That's a good word.
And
a good word.
In the way, like, your problem is the opposite of my problem, but we both kind of land in the same, boat as a result.
Yes.
And one thing that'll help, honestly, is just you realize that there are a lot of books out there that are sitting on bookshelves that are crap.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, honestly, like, you have to really try, Roxana, to like make a real dog turd of a book. So you'll probably be fine, first of all.
Yeah.
And two, Stephen Pressfield, that author that we've interviewed several times. He's our favorite author. He's a friend of ours.
He's the voice you should listen to.
He is the one who gave me the guidance just in his books, not even before we became friends or started talking, just his books, whether it was his fiction or his motivational books like The War of Art or Put Your Ass Where Your Heart Wants to Be or Do the Work. Any of these books that he has, he's got like 7 of them now. All of those books, through his writing, really helped motivate and keep me on track and keep hammering and doing the work. And you are so industrious. You work so hard. You're so consistent. You do so much stuff. Consistency is key. Nick is like this too. That you have so many things stacked in your favor to write that and to finish that book. And once you get into it, it's sort of like going to the gym or building a fire. It's always the hardest part of building a fire is just the very beginning. With that kindling, it's delicate, it's fragile. But once you get that going, man, and once you get that thing blazing hot, I was helping a friend burn some stuff yesterday, and like, man, once you get that thing going, it's the same thing with writing a book. You are just like deep in the flow state, and you're off to the races. And you'd be so good at it because you come from a prior artistic profession. Like, you coming from the perspective of a painter, I bet your descriptions and world building and the language that you would use to describe and paint that picture would be awesome. Thank
you.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Thank you so much for that, because it's really important to me. Sometimes when you are working a lot with social media, you see everything immediately.
Yeah.
People that do 4 books in a year, and you feel press yourself to do the same, but maybe it's a lie. The average creation of a book takes maybe decades.
Yeah, 2 or 3 years on average for an experienced author. And even mine, I'll tell you, from start to finish, and Nick is kind of like this too, but he's actually writing the books, whereas like my books have been written for 10 years, and still when I go back and dust them off, edit, revise, get covers, for them and everything, it still averages out to about 2 a year. So 2 books a year for books that have technically already been written.
Right.
So you as a creative person having to write it from scratch from the beginning, and give birth to this thing and get it out there in the world, it's okay with it taking 10 years. It takes as long as it needs to take. Just be consistent, That's
Thank
that's
you.
really all
Thank
it
you
takes.
so much.
You're a smart cookie. You'll do it for sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, where can people find you?
Well, now I am in Facebook and Instagram, Roxana Bio Arts, like the title of this screen. And now I have TikTok.
Oh,
In my
Hey.
TikTok, in TikTok, I am talking about things that I cannot talk in my other Facebook and Instagram. I talk about maybe politics.
Okay.
And even I do tutorials from people that want to learn how to draw and different techniques too. So you can find me there with the same name, Roxana Bio Arts. I am there, and you can write me whatever you want.
Fantastic.
And send her tacos and cookies.
Tacos and cookies. If you don't send me tacos and cookies, please don't talk to me.
That's that Costa Rican vibe I love so much. There it is.
I'm like that every Monday morning.
Yeah.
Don't come to me without tribute.
lay the tacos and cookies at my feet. Speak
Yeah.
your piece and be gone.
Yeah.
Cry, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Awesome. Roxana, thank you for staying over, first of all. We kind of
thank
got a
you.
little bit of a late start, but then we kind of took up way more of your as always. But thank you for being
It's always
generous
great.
with your time. We
Yeah.
Always have so much fun talking to you.
Yeah.
You
Thank
are
you
such
so
a-
much for inviting me and for your patience and sharing with me all your visions and the support with the book, because it's important to me someday do it, and you gave me the energy and the motivation. Thank you so much for that.
Oh, absolutely. You are worth it. You are worth every penny. Roxana Bio Arts. You can find her on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok now, and you can get all of the naughty stream stuff that no one else that she
Yeah,
can't
go to
talk about everywhere else on
go to
TikTok.
TikTok for the
You
good
did a
stuff.
good move, where
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
didn't do that on YouTube, so you won't get kicked off. And then if you want to hire Roxana, if you want to commission her for any of your artwork, proof is in the pudding. You can see the artwork behind her with Darth Vader, Wolverine, my favorite superhero, and then the Xenomorph, and then the map that Roxana made for Heavenly Realms. She is worth every penny. She is amazing. She also stays super busy, so you better get on it. If you want
you
a
better
book
reach out to her.
cover, if you want a map, if you want any sort of art, miniatures, you do miniatures as
Yeah.
well. From miniatures to murals, Roxana Bio Arts. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Have a
You
good
too.
night.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
Well, that's it for this episode, guys. We would love it if you tell your friends about the show, maybe leave us a good review, and also consider becoming an honorary Gosling. An official exclusive membership to the Gosling gets you exclusive access to interviews and conversations that we can't have on YouTube. Plus, you'll get free digital downloads of some of our books and excerpts and writing. Also, and check this out, you get to participate in a live monthly Discord chat with us. We do this once a month now. All this plus more if you join our community on Patreon for just $5 a month. I mean, that's nothing. $5 a month, it's a cup of coffee. So go to patreon.com/The Gosslings and sign up today. Thanks for listening. Now go forth and strike down the darkness.